Hello and welcome to our review of season 2005-2006. Coming up shortly, all the action and goals from 50 League and Cup games, some of course offering slightly more enjoyable viewing than others. This year, as a bonus, we've included a special feature called Canaries in the Community. A fascinating insight into the club's initiatives and involvement in a whole host of projects behind the scenes in and around our local area. Of course, there's no getting away from the fact that much of last season failed to live up to popular expectation. Yet, there were many positives. Not least the magnificent support, once again from you, the Norwich City fans, both home and away. Bumper crowds the norm, sellouts, week in, week out here at Carrow Road, with overall attendances actually up on the previous season in the Premiership. I know how you feel about last season. We all feel the same way, but just as there were frustrations, so there were lessons, do's and don'ts. Lessons that we are building in to our challenge for next season. But for now, let's rewind to August 2005 and our first game of the season against Coventry City, here at Carrow Road, introduced by Kevin Piper.
Well, the fixture computer originally gave Norwich an away trip to Coventry on the opening day, but with the Sky Blues still putting the finishing touches to their all-new Ricoh Stadium, the Canaries agreed to switch the match. So, the new campaign got underway with the first of 3 successive home games. Your commentator, Dan O'Hagan.
Of the Canaries' 6 summer signings, half start today. Mathieu Louis-Jean at right back, Dean Marnie on the right wing, and Andy Hughes in central midfield. Jason Jarrett, Peter Thorne and Jurgen Colleen are all on the bench. Leon Mackenzie for Norwich. Can he get the cross in? He'll win a corner. Mackenzie applying the pressure, and the pressure forces a corner kick for Norwich. Here it comes, good one too. It's away by the head of Matt Heath. It comes to Huckerby. Now Dean Marnie. There's the cross. Ashton's header! Norwich City have their first goal of the season. It is Dean Ashton. Well, many think he will be the Championship's top scorer this season, and Ashton's account is open on the opening day. Dean Marnie's cross and Ashton's header, and Norwich City have the lead on the opening day. The new man's cross, and Ashton connected well. All smiles Delia. Norwich City 1, Coventry 0. Now Andy Hughes for Norwich. Fleming for Mackenzie. Lovely ball from the captain. Finds Mackenzie. Mackenzie has Charlton arriving, Marnie as well. Mackenzie goes alone and forces a very good save from Stephen Bywater. Well, so far so good for Nigel Worthington. He'd love a second goal to ease any nerves that are still lingering for Norwich. But a good start to their season. Norwich have 5 in the wall. Jamie Scowcroft would love to score at Carrow Road. Stephen Hughes is there as well. Robert Green poised, waiting. It's McSheffrey. It's a super save from Robert Green. That full length McSheffrey denied by a wonderful piece of goalkeeping from England's Robert Green. Gary McSheffrey, and Green got fingertips on it. Now McSheffrey. McSheffrey's ball in, good one as well. There's the equaliser. It's Delia Adebola who turns in the leveller for the Sky Blues. McSheffrey's cross, and Adebola had the simple task of turning the ball beyond Robert Green from 6 yards. Huckerby. Mackenzie for Darren Huckerby. Thorne, Ashton in the middle. Here's the cross towards Ashton, off the crossbar. Ashton's header against the frame of the goal, and Norwich denied by the thickness of the crossbar.
It's probably a reality check for everybody, supporters included, really, that this season isn't just going to be a walk in the park. There's some very good teams in the Championship now, and even though we're one of the favourites, nobody can assume that we're going to walk this league.
A point apiece, not the ideal start, but a quick chance to improve on that as the Canaries took on Crewe at Carrow Road just 3 days later. Another 25,000 plus crowd. Dean Ashton facing his former teammates for the first time since his big money move to Norwich the previous season. And Ashton's sure to get his chances.
Moss for Roberts. Now Moss again for Crewe. Cross in towards Steve Jones and Varney, and a super save by Green. Well, Luke Varney from point-blank range denied by a wonderful save by England's Robert Green. One of those picture book moments in Robert Green's burgeoning scrapbook here. The cross and Varney's header, lots of power behind it as well. That is a wonderful save. This is Steve Jones, looks for Eddie Johnson. Roberts. And now Luke Varney turns well, looks to make inroads. Fleming stops him, super challenge. Eddie Johnson, Luke Varney for Crewe. This time he buries it. The man denied by a super save from Green. Moments later finds the back of the net with a wonderful finish. Well, the title favourites are trailing here. Luke Varney. Dean Ashton back to goal. Ashton looks for Louis Jean, but Ashton was being held. Free kick to Norwich. Ashton was just being held there by Richard Walker. It'll be Dean Marnie off the post. With Ben Williams beaten, Marnie sees the ball ricochet back off the frame. Well, Dean Marnie, only his second game for Norwich, but he came so close to his first goal here. Free kick, beat Williams, but not the post. Now Dean Marnie wide. Huckabee, Marnie, lovely link-up play. Marnie's cross. It'll come now to Mathieu Louis Jean, still the pressure on Crewe. Louis Jean's cross, Ashton waiting. Moss, spectacular clearance, back in by Drury. Andy Hughes now. Hughes high, no flag, Darren Huckabee. Huckabee accelerates, cross in there towards Fleming, who's stretching, off the post from point-blank range. How that stayed out from Mackenzie, I do not know. He just couldn't stretch and crane and arch his neck to get this one in. Huckabee's cross, Fleming's connection, Mackenzie couldn't quite get back to convert it. And Mackenzie was just ahead of the ball, wasn't he? Huckabee's first touch is excellent. Faced by Moss. Now Drury. Drury's ball in. Mackenzie stretching. Leon Mackenzie still couldn't get the shot away. Does now! Leon Mackenzie equalises. The chance seems to have gone by for Mackenzie. It's a knockout blow to start the second half. It is all square. Norwich's pressure finally pays off, and it's a first goal of the season for Leon Mackenzie.
2 games, 2 points. Could City make it third time lucky the following Saturday? A hat-trick of home games inside just 8 days, and sure to be a tough test this time against Crystal Palace, who of course had come down with Norwich from the Premiership. Carrow Road packed again for what some billed as the battle of the 2 star frontmen, Dean Ashton and Andy Johnson.
Safri closed down by Johnson. Marnie returns the ball to the Moroccan. Andy Hughes, ball rather took an awkward bounce, but Hughes still comes away with the ball, looks to chip the ball in towards Ashton here. Dean Ashton, fabulous finish, and Norwich City 5 minutes in have scored a fantastic goal. Andy Hughes, lovely delivery, and Ashton just stole in and with a first-time finish off the other side of the crossbar, left Kirai standing. Clipped the ball in and Ashton stole it. Inch perfect finish. Norwich City 1, Crystal Palace 0. Borrowdale's throw towards Ward. Fleming half away. Andrews there for Palace. This is Wayne Andrews. It's Wayne Andrews. Green saves well. He did well to hang on because there were 2 Palace players waiting for the slip from the goalkeeper. Now Soares for Emerson. Boyce for Johnson. There's no flag, and Johnson levels, as he did 1 year ago in the Premiership opener. Andy Johnson levels for Palace. Well, there's his riposte to the fans who brought the diving scorecards. Andy Johnson levels. It is Palace on terms now, 1-1 at Carrow Road. Ideally must be sick of 1-1. For the third time this week, that is a scoreline we're faced with. Doesn't look too downbeat though. Right now is Andrews. Andrews running at Charlton. Andrews cross. Johnson is there, blocked well by Fleming. Johnson simply had to score. Comes back to Watson to hit one. Deflection favours Robert Green this time. Well, Andy Johnson was, what, 3 or 4 yards from goal? And Craig Fleming, the Norwich captain, just flung his body in the way and denied Johnson a certain second goal. Here's Dean Ashton for Norwich. Ashton, lovely turn away from Hall. Ashton curls one off the post. Oh, he deserved the goal. Did everything right, Ashton. Lovely turn and lovely shot. Only the post in the way.
3 games, 3 points. A frustrating week of 1-1 draws. Time to hit the road. Starting with a long trip for City's faithful followers back to St Mary's, scene of the heartbreaking 4-3 defeat against Southampton in the Premiership only a couple of months earlier. The Canaries not enjoying much fortune this time either. The game ultimately settled by an early and hugely controversial twice-taken penalty. Craig Fleming unlucky to be penalised for handball and difficult to see what he could do about it. To make matters worse, Robert Green, making his 200th appearance, saves Nigel Quasi's kick, only for referee Lee Probert to order a retake for encroachment. City were incensed, and with some justification. Quasi making no mistake second time round, and so denying Green his first penalty save as a senior professional. Well, Norwich could and indeed should have drawn level. Ashton pouncing to Rob Powell and looking a racing cert to equalise, only for Antti Niemi to block his efforts. Early in the second half, City turned up the pressure and again they went close. Brennan getting his head to the corner, only for the ball to hit the post. And as much as Norwich pushed forward, they simply couldn't find a breakthrough. Yusuf Safri here trying his luck with a fine dipping 30-yarder, sailing just over Niemi's crossbar. Once again, not Norwich City's day at St Mary's, a first defeat of the season courtesy of that debatable penalty. Come midweek, the first cup match of the campaign, a trip to the National Hockey Stadium to take on MK Dons in the first round of the Carling Cup. Norwich hit by injuries, no Ashton or Huckabee, but Leon McKenzie was back in the starting lineup, although he failed to capitalise on good work here from Jim Brennan. No goals in the first half, nor indeed the second, so the tie went into extra time, where the Dons were given an excellent chance to produce a shock victory. Jason Shackle penalised for a challenge there on Kamara. Not so much debate about that one. Skipper Ben Chorley stepping up to the spot, but making a complete hash with his kick, much to the relief of the Norwich fans behind the goal. And having survived that scare, the Canaries staged a late smash and grab job. McKenzie bundling the ball over the line after good work from Brennan on the left. Not the most spectacular performance, but a first win of the season all the same.
It was a messy goal, I must say. Come off my chest, and that was I can only put that down to hard work, really.
You're definitely claiming it?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it's touched my chest and it's gone in the goal. It doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as it goes in.
Typical us, we always make it difficult, but we got there in the end, and that's nice. I think it's the first time since I've been in charge that we've actually got through to the next round of the Cup, which is good.
Buoyed by that Cup success, it was back to Carrow Road and a return to Championship action against Leeds United. Good news ahead of the game, Dean Ashton signing a new long-term contract, underlining his apparent commitment to helping City make a swift return to the top flight. Here's Dan O'Hagan.
Nigel Worthington was all smiles on Thursday at the press conference to announce Ashton's contract extension. He knows what a key player he is to him. Here comes the Leeds corner, in towards Hulse off the crossbar. Rob Hulse with a header, which rattles the frame of the Norwich goal. And now Norwich break away with Huckabee. Marnie. Huckabee has Safri left of him. Huckabee, Leon Mackenzie. Mackenzie's strike is pulled harmlessly wide of the Leeds goal. A frantic 60 seconds, which saw Mackenzie fire wide after Rob Hulse had rattled the Norwich crossbar. Good corner, Hulse with the header against Fleming, against the crossbar. Another Leeds corner. Einarsson arriving, Hulse there too. Richardson's ball in towards the far post. Danger here for Norwich, and a goal for Leeds and for Rob Hulse. Hulse, who hit the bar in the first half, this time simply wouldn't take no for an answer. He simply bustled his way through and got the finish ahead of Robert Green. And Leeds have the lead. It is Norwich 0, Leeds United 1. Safri. Darren Huckabee, he'll take on Dan Harding. And he loses backing up Harding. Huckabee, lovely skill to beat Dan Harding. Huckabee still runs on. Huckabee shot deflects and deflects to the goalkeeper. A chance which was all his own making, but in the end his shot took a deflection which took the sting out of it. Huckabee wriggled free of Dan Harding's attention. So far, it's not their day. Nigel Worthington will wonder when this first league win is going to come. This is Dean Marnie for Norwich. Goes behind off, Harding for a corner. And Norwich will commit the big men forward. Jason Shackle's wandering towards the penalty area now. Fleming there as well, the skipper. Safri makes a run towards the penalty spot. Ashton is in there waiting. It's Marnie's corner. It's Fleming's header in towards Mackenzie, off the line. Well, Leeds had a play in the right place at the right time to fall Leon Mackenzie.
Little time to wallow in that setback. 2 days later, a hectic and largely frustrating August ended with City travelling to the Potteries, a Monday night match at the Britannia Stadium, which started badly. Former Canary loanee Kevin Harper involved in Stoke's first meaningful attack, picking out Sidibe. Robert Green with a superb reflex stop, only for the Czech Kola to follow up 1-0. Norwich hit back with a cracking goal before the interval. Safri to Brennan, the Canadian bursting down the left flank before delivering the perfect cross for Ashton to supply an equally exquisite finish. 1-1, that's more like it. Ashton clearly delighted. But it didn't last long. City behind again, Kola causing all sorts of problems. Harper applying the killer blow this time, 2-1 to Stoke. And it went from bad to worse early in the second half. Darren Huckabee clearly aggrieved here at failing to get a free kick after being sent crashing to the ground. Huckabee letting referee Mike Pike know just how he felt and receiving a red card for his protests. So, a tough job just got tougher, and then nigh on impossible once Sidibe made the most of some less than impressive defending to make it 3-1. A thoroughly disappointing night, all things considered. So with just 3 points from 6 league games, the eyes of the nation fell on Carrow Road the following weekend as the Sky cameras turned up for the visit of Plymouth Argyle. New loan signing Kevin Lisby taking his place on the bench, Darren Huckabee starting his 2-match ban, so Andy Hughes returning to central midfield. Commentary here from Donovan Blake.
Evans for Plymouth. Barry Knight deciding that was a foul by Yusuf Safri. Taribo West takes it. Shackle trying to get it away. Evans. Norwich struggling it a bit. And Watton's shot hits the post. Paul Watton, the Plymouth captain. Norwich trying to get it away, and it was Watton who struck it from distance. Green was beaten. Played into the danger area once again. Norwich somehow bringing it away. Hughes and Marnie combining, and now here's Paul McVeigh streaking down the right-hand side. Plenty of space to attack. McVeigh taking on Brevitt. Lario can't keep it out, and neither can Dunbe. It's an own goal. Norwich have the lead. Paul McVeigh takes all the congratulations, but it has to be put down as an own goal. Lario couldn't keep the shot out. and neither could Matthias Dumbay, but all credit to Paul McVeigh for making it happen. Norwich a goal to the good. Safri, and now Hughes, and now Marnie. Just being driven away from the danger area. Here's Jurgen Collin. Chance to cross, it's a good one. Ashton, 2-0 for Norwich. The celebrations are a bit extravagant, but it's 2 goals for Norwich City. Great cross from Collin, and Ashton couldn't miss from there. Roman Lario, no chance, wrong-footed. And Ashton's 4th of the season. Marnie, Safri, Hughes. He's got Ashton to his left, and that's where it's aimed. Ashton now taking on Doumbé. Oh, he's done well, gets the shot in, oh, rattles the post. And McVeigh couldn't finish it off. Great play from Ashton. It was Hughes who set him up. Ashton waited and teased Doumbé, and then crashed in a right footer. Lario beaten. Good clearance from Drury. And now Ashton has only got McVeigh for company ahead of him. Ashton beating West, just gets a foot in. Ashton though winning it back quite easily as well. Shooting chance. Just swinging wide of the far post. Once again he looks up to the heavens to say why. But Norwich, 2 goals to the good.
3 very welcome points and hopefully the springboard for City's season. Next stop, 3 days later, Vicarage Road. And something of a reunion for Norwich, with former academy manager Aidy Boothroyd in charge of Watford, bringing Malky Mackay into the heart of the Hornets' defence. Again, City gave themselves a lot to do, conceding another early goal, courtesy of the informed Marlon King. 1-0 Watford on 13 minutes, and that became 2-0 midway through the first half. King the provider this time, with some neat work to tee up strike partner Ashley Young, who blasted a rising drive beyond Robert Green. Norwich boss Nigel Worthington rang the changes at the break, with Paul McVeigh coming on, along with another new loan signing, Callum Davenport, making his debut in defence. It was fellow new boy Kevin Lisby who threw City a lifeline though, pouncing on the rebound after Dean Marnie tried his luck from distance. A good finish, 2-1, Norwich back in it. And they came close to grabbing a point towards the end. Marnie's header just over the bar though, and no denying former City hero Malky Mackay and his new teammates on the night. Well, talking of Malky Mackay, he of course was a 2-goal hero against Ipswich when the East Anglian rivals last met on City's way to the old First Division title a couple of seasons ago. The Canaries never looking back after going top of the league at Portman Road at Christmas, courtesy of Leon Mackenzie's match-winning brace on his debut. This time a defeat could have sent City to the bottom of the table, but Nigel Worthington seized the initiative, somewhat boldly dropping Darren Huckabee and skipper Craig Fleming to the bench. A move that would ultimately pay off in style, not before City got an early break when town defender Castro Cito saw red after clipping a goal-bound Kevin Lisby. A tad harsh perhaps, but the travelling Norwich supporters weren't about to complain. The chances soon came, but as so often so far this season, the killer touch was lacking. No goals at the break. Enter Darren Huckabee and cue the defining moments of the game. Gary Doherty sending a peach of a crossfield pass towards Hucks. He in turn did superbly well to beat Lewis Price with an exquisite chip. 2,300 Norwich fans going wild, and that sublime moment a little over 5 minutes into the second half settled the issue. Dean Ashton might have doubled City's advantage moments later, but there was no denying the hero of the day. Huckabee's strike enough to secure another victory over the old enemy, and also City's first away win in the league since that marvellous 3-1 victory at Crewe on the final day of the First Division title season. At last, something to really smile about.
Oh, it's a fantastic boost. you know, I was fortunate enough to be given the captaincy off the gaffer with the absence of Craig Fleming, so you know it makes it very special for me to be able to captain Norwich in a derby win.
It's like difficult when you haven't played for 3 weeks and you've missed a couple of games. It was, you know, it took me a bit of time to get my legs, but like I said, you know, it's good to be back, and it's always good to score, especially against Ipswich.
And so back to Carrow Road for the first of 3 successive home games, beginning with the midweek Carling Cup second round tie against Northampton Town from League 2. 7 changes after the weekend derby victory on the back of a few bumps and bruises picked up at Portman Road.
Shackle. Jim Brennan's ball in towards Huckabee. Being held, was he? Referee says he was. Penalty. It was Gavin Johnson who seemed to have an arm around the shoulder of Huckabee as Huckabee went for the cross. There'll be a card as well, I think, for Gavin Johnson. Cross came in, and look for the contact there between 18 Johnson and 6 Huckabee. There was contact. It is a penalty. Here he comes, Huckabee against Bunn for Norwich. Huckabee scores. Derby winner on Sunday, open to scoring in the Carling Cup on Tuesday. Huckabee for Norwich. Mark Buck beaten finally, and the Canaries flying high. They lead by 1-0. Really calm and assured conversion from Huckabee. Bunn went the right way, but just couldn't get there. A well-placed penalty from Darren Huckabee, and Norwich City have the lead. What can Fleming deliver? Fleming's cross deflects, might come to Dean Ashton here, or for Adam Drury. Blocked by Chambers. Now Jim Brennan invited to cross for Norwich. Andy Hughes. Ashton has peeled away towards the penalty spot. Brennan's ball in for Ashton, 2-0. Ashton's finish has surely sealed a third-round place for Norwich City. Instinctive, intuitive, Norwich 2-goal leaders. It's Jim Brennan's ball in. Ashton peeled away from his marker and finished really well. Goal number 5 of the season for Dean Ashton. It books Norwich a third-round place in the Carling Cup.
2 straight victories, hopeful signs City's season was at last up and running. But a big test next up at Carrow Road as the Championship's surprise package Reading paid a visit. Darren Huckabee on the bench after picking up a heavy knock in the cup win over the Cobblers, and a home debut for England under-21 on-loan defender Callum Davenport.
Convey, and he's got Lita to his left, but he decides to play it to his right, and it's Little who chips it over the keeper, and Robert Green makes the save. What words of encouragement he'll have at half-time. It's a game where neither has shaded. I suppose a chance that Glenn Little had. Is there a big difference between the two sides? Gunnarsson making. Now threaded through and tempted to Elita, but it was intercepted by Safri, and Norwich now can turn it to their advantage. McVeigh wide for Lisby. Sonko in front of him. Still with Kevin Lisby. Good effort, great save. Kevin Lisby tried to create something out of nothing, but Marcus Hanneman was equal to it. Great break by Norwich City. Lisby just being patient, steering it right-footed. Fantastic save by the American. 2 important saves he's made now, Marcus Hanneman. Little shrugs off McVeigh. Digs out a decent ball to release Doyle, who was being held by Davenport. Doyle still has it. A shot from Harper's blocked. Harper again! James Harper has broken the deadlock for Reading. Robert Green is beaten, appealing for handball. His second of the season. Doyle setting it up. The first shot was blocked. The rebound fell to his left foot, and he was able to steer it past Robert Green. Magnificent strike. Green at full stretch. Goal given. But can Darren Huckabee deliver them? A very, very packed penalty area for this free kick. A bit of bumping and boring. Huckabee lifts it in. Hanneman makes a mistake! Oh, he's hit off the line! It was Sonko who hooked it off the line. Look at those faces. From the highs of the derby last week to frustration today. Lisby. Davenport joining in the attack now. Oh, that's silky. Now can he find a ball in, and the challenge comes in, and he's given a free kick to Reading, and Davenport is booked for diving. Although having said that, the linesman did flag, and Mr. Kettle's having a word with him. He's given a penalty. Davenport using his skills, a contact on the edge of the box by Convey. It's the right decision. Trevor Kettle is not entirely happy yet for Ashton to take it. Now he is. Ashton against Hanneman. Ashton's missed it. They can't believe it. Disbelief. And I think the supporters think that's their last chance gone.
Another setback at Carrow Road, but once again there was a quick chance to put things right. Hull City, the third visitors in just 8 days. Dean Ashton making the starting lineup with the help of a protective bandage after his clash of heads against Reading that had seen him pay a swift visit to a London specialist. Ashton playing here just 3 days later, all a bit of a gamble, but the City striker was determined to play his part in kick-starting the Canaries season.
Doherty, 3 man of the match performances in his last 3 outings. Settling into that role now in the centre, organising his troops. Free kick quickly taken, headed by Carl Court! Oh, it's in! It's Leon Court! What a start for Hull City. Leon Court scores his first goal of the season, and barely a minute gone. Curtis Woodhouse taking the free kick quickly. The header by Leon Court into the corner, and Hull City have a shock lead. Huckabee. Drury tries to swing the cross in, deflected corner. Corner quickly taken. Safri will drive one! He answered the cry of the crowd to shoot, and Yusuf Safri has fired Norwich City level. Quarter of an hour gone, and Norwich City fans have found their voice. They found it shortly before this strike by Yusuf Safri. They urged him to shoot. Shoot he did, into the near post. Myhill beaten, 1-1. And a relief for the Norwich City manager. Here's Colin. Marnie. Huckabee. Again, stretching his legs, Darren Huckabee decides not to shoot. Plays it into Marnie. Also a good defensive challenge coming in from Stuart Elliott. But Dean Marnie almost got behind them. He's back in action again. The corner quickly taken by Huckabee. Marnie's cross, and the header comes in, and it's Gary Doherty! Doherty scores his first of the season. No reaction from the manager, but inwardly he must be very, very pleased. Well, he certainly has been the star of the moment. 3 brilliant performances the last 3 games, and there he has marked this performance with a goal. Good cross from Marnie, free header from Doherty, Myhill beaten. It's 2-1 to Norwich City.
And so into October, and a trip to the south coast to take on Brighton. No Dean Ashton, he was out with that facial injury, but City confident of building on their midweek win over Hull, and they were soon on the front foot at the Withdean Stadium. Huckabee was proving the Seagulls' tormentor-in-chief and set Norwich on their way with the opening goal midway through the first half. Yusuf Safri with a cracking ball, unlocking the home defence. Huckabee timing his run to perfection and finishing superbly with an inch-perfect shot into the net off the far post. A tremendous goal, Huckabee's third in a fortnight. Norwich set about building on their advantage, and they did just that 4 minutes before the break. Davenport's free kick causing all sorts of problems in the Brighton box and falling nicely for Dean Marney, unmarked and with time to pick out Paul McVeigh. McVeigh's first goal for City since his strike at Manchester United early last season in the Premiership. Norwich continued to create chances after the break. Kevin Lisby going close with the header. For all their possession and attacking threats, City then found their lead halved as Brighton's sub Alexandre Frutos smashed a stunning shot past Robert Green and into the top corner. So 2-1 midway through the second half. A couple of minutes later, the Canaries wrapped up the points. McVeigh with good vision putting Henderson free, and this time the England under-21 striker made no mistake. 3-1 Norwich, making it 2 successive away wins in the league. Well, after a fortnight's break because of international fixtures, City returned to Carrow Road looking to continue their climb up the table. One of the big pre-match talking points, the return of former Canary keeper Andy Marshall, now keeping goal for Millwall and about to play a key part in proceedings.
Millwall have begun this game well. Colin Lee's side piling on decent pressure on Norwich City. They've got another corner now which Morris will take. Morris with the ball in again, and the header from Robinson away by Drury. It'll come out here to Jermaine Wright, who clips the ball back in towards Hales, and Williams is up there, and Millwall have scored. It's A.D. Williams. Well, the big defender rose highest of all and got a good header in. Wright's cross and A.D. Williams' header, and the man on loan from Coventry opens the scoring. Wonder what the team talk contained at half-time. Norwich simply didn't make chances in the first half, and that's unlike them. Now, free kick for Norwich, dead central, 40 yards from Millwall's goal. Can they exploit this dead ball? Free kicks so far have been really poor and disappointing today. Jarrett's ball clipped in towards Callum Davenport, his header. Philip Ifill away. Drury will try and retrieve for Norwich, has a Saba close by him. Now Davenport. McVeigh, still McVeigh. Doherty, can he turn? Can he tee up? Jason Jarrett, his shot deflects. Doherty back in there. Jarrett again for Norwich. A wall of blue. Every Millwall player is around his own penalty area. High from Colleen to test Marshall, and the bright sunshine hasn't got there. The keeper, Ashton is in, must score. Norwich are level. Andy Marshall came and didn't get there, the goalkeeper, and Norwich City equalise. Ashton got the ball towards goal. Not sure if his was the final touch, but Norwich City, with their first real attempt on goal, are level. Swung in by Jurgen Colleen. Andy Marshall didn't get there. Davenport did. Ashton strike towards goal. Who got the final touch? Well, on the line, Davenport got something on the ball, but Ashton may well have got the crucial touch. Now, was the ball across the line before the touch from Davenport? Maybe not. Maybe it's Davenport's goal. Well, Dean Ashton given the goal by the scoreboard in the crowd. He certainly got the attempt on goal. Well, Norwich fans booed off their team at half-time. And they're giving Andy Marshall some fearful stick this afternoon. Ashton took it well. Ashton still rolls in. Huckabee for Norwich, angle tight, foul Rosie by Vincent, penalty. Jamie Vincent sends Huckabee tumbling. It's a penalty. Huckabee and Wright go toe-to-toe now, and there's pushing and shoving. It's really bubbling out of control at Carrow Road. Andy Marshall has a feisty say to the referee, and he'll have talked himself into trouble now. Huckabee went nose-to-nose with Jermaine Wright momentarily as well. And this game really has boiled over. Marshall is yellow carded, and the referee has a bit of sorting out to do here. So Andy Marshall against Huckabee. Huckabee comes forward. Marshall saves! McVeigh is there, and Andy Marshall, on his return to Carrow Road, may well prove Millwall's hero.
City paying the penalty once again as they prepared for 3 straight away games next, starting with the trip to Luton in midweek, where the newly promoted Hatters were enjoying a bright start to the season. And what happened during the first 45 minutes at Kenilworth Road came as something of a shock to City's healthy contingent of travelling fans, and that's putting it mildly. Norwich actually started brightly and could easily have taken the lead in this, their first visit to Kenilworth Road for 10 years. Darren Huckabee's previously deft finishing for once letting him down though from a good position on his favoured left flank. Moments later, Norwich went even closer. Jim Brennan's cross beaten out by Marlon Beresford, only as far as Ian Henderson, and he was unlucky to see his well-struck effort come back off the woodwork. Huckabee again off target with the rebound. Then 26 minutes of defensive madness. First, Warren Feeney nipping in to put Luton 1 up. And then one of those unforgettably embarrassing moments that crop up in the game from time to time. It's Carlos Edwards. Now, is this a cross? Is it a shot? Only the Trinidad and Tobago international will ever know, as poor old Robert Green lost his footing and the ball sailed over his head and into the net. 2-0 Luton. If that was farcical, worse was to follow. Feeney to Holmes, and it's 3-0. And a nightmare first half was complete 7 minutes later when a shell-shocked Norwich City conceded yet another. Big Steve Howard with a trademark header. 4-0, and it was only half-time. Ryan Jarvis entered the fray at half-time as City set about repairing the damage, not least to their reputation. Dean Ashton seized the initiative and no little responsibility, driving home 10 minutes into the second half. His 7th goal of the season, 4-1 and a hint of a comeback. For all their endeavour though, the next goal just would not come quickly enough. And as if to sum up City's night, they were reduced to 10 men on 80 minutes when Callum Davenport saw red for his second bookable offence, a tackle from behind on Howard. All that remained was for young Jarvis to grab another consolation after more good work from Ashton, giving the scoreline at least a sense of respectability. 4-2 on the night. Difficult to know what to say.
I thought we started the game very, very well. Could have been 2-0 up through Darren Huckabee and Ian Henderson. And Luton's very first chance, they go and score. Defending not of the best. The second goal is an absolute freak, one of those unfortunate things that happens when it happens against you. And the second goal was the one that really done the damage as far as that first half, because we stopped playing, we were disappointed with the situation, and Luton took the full advantage.
Sad to say, it was almost a sense of deja vu just 4 days later at Loftus Road, where Norwich found themselves 3 down by half-time. Goals from Nygaard, Furlong, and then Santos doing the damage for Queen's Park Rangers. Yet more misery for the Canaries' travelling supporters. Enough said. Next up, St Andrews for round 3 of the Carling Cup. A reunion with Steve Bruce's Birmingham City for the first time since that First Division playoff final some 3 years earlier. After 2 straight-away defeats, it didn't look too promising once again as Norwich fell behind after just 5 minutes. Jermaine Pennant with the free kick, and when your luck's out, well, a wicked deflection said it all, and it was 1-0 to the Premiership club. Slowly but surely, Norwich got back into the match, and they benefited from an overdue slice of good fortune 4 minutes before half-time. Dean Ashton breaking free on the right, his cross deflected off defender Martin Taylor, and into the net. 1-1. And there was time for another dollop of luck before the break. Jim Brennan bringing down Emil Heskey for a penalty. Now remember, Robert Green is still yet to save a spot kick as a senior pro, but he didn't need to this time as Michael Forsell shot wide, so all square at half-time. Well, sensing it might be their night, the Canaries pushed forward after the interval and they went close to taking the lead when Callum Davenport met Dean Marnie's cross with a firm header at the back post, only for Nico Vasson to produce a great save. And with time running out, Jiro Jarasic showed them how it should be done. No apparent danger, a full 35 yards out until the Czech let fly with a veritable thunderbolt. Shades of Safri against Newcastle last season, absolutely nothing Robert Green could do about it. A worthy match winner, no doubt. What you might call checkmate, 2-1 to Birmingham, and the end of the road for Norwich. After 3 straight defeats on their travels and a dismal month of October to date, City boss Nigel Worthington was hoping for a return to winning ways as his former club, Sheffield Wednesday, arrived at Carrow Road.
Bit of a stuttering start to this game at the moment. Away by Fleming. Hill's trying to loft it forward as well. Now then, Whelan and Brunt goes the other side of Fleming. One player in the centre! Oh, off the post! And is it going to be scrambled away? It is by Robert Green. Almost a dream start by Gabriel Lonahor. The cross by Chris Brunt after he beat Craig Fleming. It came off the post, and Robert Green, scrambling with Adam Drury, was able to claw it back. So can Norwich make something out of this? It's Marnie with the free kick. Oh, Ashton's in there! And it's hooked away. Driven from distance as well, and it almost crept in. Cleared off the line, probably by Eagles. Whelan can't find anyone in blue and white, and unfortunately for Norwich, they weren't able to take advantage of that situation, but Dean Ashton, who almost got into the danger area where the boots were flying. The free kick was taken by Marnie, almost getting in there, but Sheffield Wednesday able to get it away twice. Ashton, lovely deft header. Huckabee. Marnie, away from one. And Hughes through the centre. Can he finish? What a strong move that was by Norwich City. It deserved a goal by Hughes. Dangerous move. It was Ashton who started it all up. Marnie's beautiful ball in, and the shot by Hughes rising over. Still urgency asked of his team by Nigel Worthington. I think he has one more throw of the dice to play, but it's a defensive scenario. He's got his 2 forward-thinking players on already, Thorne and Henderson. Hughes, oh, good skills, but not away from Rocastle. And there's a chance here. Whelan, he's got Richie Partridge to his right. Here's Richie Partridge, good save by Green, and the shot goes in, and it's Chris Brunt who's got it. I'm just having a look to see if a flag's gone up. It hasn't. The goal has been given. Nigel Worthington's face says it all. And Sheffield Wednesday have taken the lead. The fans are aghast. Chris Brunt isn't. He's delighted.
Difficult times then for Nigel Worthington. His largely new-look team clearly struggling to come to terms with life in the Championship. Just 2 days after that weekend setback, the crowd's back in force once again at Carrow Road, hoping for an upturn in fortunes against Cardiff City.
Here's Henderson. Henderson has Huckabee wide left for Norwich now. In the middle, Jarrett is steaming forward, so too Andy Hughes. Here's Jason, Jarrett can get. Andy Hughes might and should have scored. Well, Norwich's skipper appeared on the far post. He just couldn't get the faintest connection to open the scoring. He shakes his head because he knows this was a golden opportunity. Lovely cross. Jarrett missed it, so too did Hughes. Maybe Alexander put him off the goalkeeper. Ashton. Now Jason, Jarrett charging forward. Does well. Was he caught? Referee says no. Ball breaks to McVeigh. McVeigh goes for goal. Paul McVeigh nearly won the game. Oh, Paul McVeigh ran on. And he certainly was deflection on the way here. McVeigh with a shot, and he claims Alexander got a touch, and I think he may have a case. Final 15 minutes of a match they really need to win for so many reasons. Is this the moment? It'll be Jason Jarrett's corner for Norwich. In it comes long. Too long. McVeigh is there, and the ball just bobbles away from McVeigh. Now the ball comes in, and Davenport is there off the line. It's in! release the pressure. Norwich City score in the most bizarre circumstances, but for Nigel Worthington, it doesn't matter. Oh, a goal to release a mountain of pressure. It was Callum Davenport who was in there. I think the final touch was off a Cardiff defender. But Nigel Worthington and Norwich City players, fans, Delia, everybody cared not one jot. Off the back of Alexander's head, it will be an own goal off the goalkeeper. But Norwich City do not care. That's what it means to Delia. And Norwich City have found a way through. They have the lead. It's Whitley's ball swung in. Green has come and hasn't really got there. It's Jason Kumas who could have broke Norwich City's hearts there, because Green was in absolutely no man's land. And Jason Kumas had a clear sight of a relatively unguarded goal here as Green came. He went back and had never got there, and Jason Kumas had a lot to aim for. Green is a lucky man. Green away, relief, sheer relief around Carrow Road. Nigel Worthington's Norwich have won a game which he really had to win.
I thought the players dealt very, very well with the situation, and also the supporters were first class. They stuck with them. 70 minutes, you can feel a little bit of tension around the place because is it going to happen or not? But I think everybody deserves that result tonight.
Yeah, it's a massive result. You know, we've played on Saturday, similar in the first half, but dropped off on the work maybe in the second and paid the price. But today we pushed on, and with the chances we had in the first half, we felt that we could have been a couple up, and then in the second half, thankfully, we got the break that we needed.
A welcome return to winning ways, back on their travels next for City, a bonfire night trip to Molineux, where hopes of a decent result, well, pretty much went up in smoke within the opening 2 minutes. 76 seconds to be precise, by which time Korean international Seoul had fired Wolves ahead. City's injury problems not helping, especially in midfield. Dean Marnie out with his ruptured Achilles, Yusuf Safri and skipper Andy Hughes also missing. And yet again, things didn't bode well in the first half. Vio Ghanea making it 2-0, damage done, game over. Back to Carrow Road and the small matter of restoring some lost pride against Luton just a month after that extraordinary night at Kenilworth Road. Nigel Worthington giving debuts to on-loan pair Dixon Ituhu in midfield and fullback David Wright.
Adam Drury throws in. Ashton and Thorne and Dean Ashton. Now Andy Hughes, Ituhu in the middle. Andy Hughes for Norwich, fabulous goal! A clean strike from the skipper, back from injury. Andy Hughes gives Norwich exactly the start they wanted. Bang, Andy Hughes and Norwich break through. That should lift the pressure and ease the nerves. Nigel Worthington rather impassive on the bench, but I'm sure inside he's as happy as Andy Hughes. Ashton here with the ball across to the skipper in lots of space. He took his time and picked his moment, and boy did he finish. There's David Wright for Norwich for Callum Davenport. Davenport for Wright. Good play by Norwich. Wright's cross. Ituhu's header. Didn't get the direction, Dixon Ituhu, but he was in the right place at the right time. And the two new loan signings nearly combined to conjure a goal for Norwich. Mike Newell was a fine player for Luton and Everton and Blackburn Rovers in his day. Former strike partner of Alan Shearer in the early days of the Premiership, of course, at Blackburn. And he's done a fine job as manager of Luton, winning the League One title last season in style. Ashton, little flick on for Huckabee. Lovely link of play, Huckabee! And Norwich are 2 goals clear. What a lovely goal. It was made by Dean Ashton's sublime touch and forethought to play in Huckabee. And how Huckabee took the goal well. Is this the day Norwich City finally click? He'll hope so. It was route one, if you like, but look for the touch coming up here from Dean Ashton, helped on by Thorne. There's the touch, and here's the finish. Norwich City 2, Luton Town 0, a goal from the very top draw. She's enjoying her afternoon, and well may she smile and blow the kisses, because Norwich City is this afternoon that their season finally gets off the ground and the team finally click. Here's Ahmed Berkovic running on. Davenport is there to win the ball. Davenport still striding away the tall central defender. He's made real progress here. Davenport for Ashton. Dean Ashton for Norwich, saved well by Beresford. Might come to Davenport again. Well, that chance was made entirely by a majestic striding run forward from Callum Davenport. The chance fell to Dean Ashton, who was played through by this man. It was a wonderful leggy run from Callum Davenport, and he played the ball to Ashton, who saw his shot well saved. One of those days for Mike Newell and for Luton Town.
That's more like it. City showing their true colours at last, but now faced with the prospect of 4 successive away games, starting with a trip to bottom club Millwall. The Lions still waiting for their first home win of the season, and they got it as the Canaries' away day jinx struck once again. Darren Huckabee unlucky not to get the decision when he appeared to have a strong case for a penalty, but that merely summed up City's night. The Lions grabbing all 3 points with a rare break midway through the second half. Marvin Elliott on the end of the cross, 1-0. Off to the new Ricoh Stadium, where Norwich really should have kicked off the season. Yet again, Norwich did themselves absolutely no favours in the opening 45 minutes. 2-0 down within 10 minutes actually. First, Gary McSheffrey's deflected shot, and then Dele Adebola shrugging off the challengers to double the Sky Blues' lead. This was sure to be a test of the Canaries' resolve, and to their credit, they bounced back. Callum Davenport's popping up with a crucial header from Adam Drury's cross 5 minutes before the break to make it 2-1. Norwich then pressed forward in search of a second-half equaliser, and eventually it came in the closing stages from an unlikely source. Club skipper Craig Fleming bundling the ball home after more good work from Drury. Flem and his teammates absolutely delighted with their comeback. Final score 2-2. A short hop across the Midlands a week later, and Norwich were hoping that spirited fight back would hold them in good stead for the trip to struggling Derby County. More injuries and more changes, David Wright and Darren Huckabee both missing, and something of a familiar story in the first half. 28 minutes on the clock, Idiake's corner, Nyatanga header, Ashton blocking on the line, Andy Davis with the follow-up, 1-0 Derby. That man, Idiakes, was certainly proving a handful, and the architect of County's second as he curled the ball to the back post, where defender Davis scored his, and Derby's second with a looping header. Dark days for Norwich and manager Nigel Worthington. To Gresty Road, the halfway point of the season, where defeat could have serious implications, and not looking good as the Railwaymen went ahead on 16 minutes. First half sub Paul McVeigh then came up trumps with an equaliser midway through the second half after Huckabee's short corner to Carl Robinson. And 5 minutes from time, former Crew striker Dean Ashton turning provider for McVeigh to head the winner. A timely comeback and timely away win. So could that win at Gresty Road be the catalyst for an upturn in City's fortunes? A great chance to build on it next as the Saints came marching in on a wintry pre-Christmas Saturday afternoon. The Canaries forced into changes again, Callum Davenport's loan spell coming to an end. Long-term injury victim Leon McKenzie back at last, albeit on the bench. And a bitterly cold snap causing a few problems with the Carrow Road power supply. And things not looking too bright for City either, as the Algerian Jamel Belmadi gave the visitors an early lead, albeit thanks to a deflection off Craig Fleming. But this was to be Norwich City's, and in particular striker Dean Ashton's day. Fair to say, we hadn't really seen the best of the Canaries' record signing thus far this season. Today, he would put that right in some style, starting with a trademark brilliant header to equalise, and that was just for starters. as City up the ante in more ways than one after the break.
Yusuf Safri with the corner. Up go the heads, it's in! And Dean Ashton has a double. So Norwich City, who trailed early on, now have the lead. The corner taken by Yusuf Safri, and it was Ashton rising highest. Under pressure by 1 or 2, but used his strength to beat off his marker, who may well have been Kenwyne Jones. Delia Smith, look at that. The smile just eking on her face. And she applauds the top scorer. 9 for the season now for Dean Ashton. Ashton again trying to release Huckabee a second time, but he's won back from the loose ball. Ashton, McVeigh tries to chip. Naomi, great save by Naomi, and it shouldn't have been put away by Huckabee, and wasn't. It was a good piece of play by Ashton. Lovely ball in. McVeigh looked as though he had a lot to do, but that was a super chip. That was a great save by Naomi, and Huckabee couldn't round it off. Huckabee did the little run. Oh, good cross by Drury, and that's a great header and a great save, and Atuhu still couldn't finish it. Meanwhile, the referee has seen a foul inside the penalty area, but Dixon Atuhu thought he'd broken through and scored, and Niemi with 2 saves in quick succession. It was a great cross from Drury, and Atuhu with the bullet header, magnificent save by Niemi, and then prostrate on the ground, managed to block the follow-up as well. That is brave goalkeeping. Prutton beaten by Safri. McVeigh, who's trying to feed it through to Ashton, who may well get there because of the mistake. Ashton shot, brilliant save. Anthony Amy thwarts Ashton. He really has been overworked, the Finnish international. Great ball by McVeigh. The mistake was by Higginbottom, but the shot was fierce and dealt with by Niemi. Hooked away there by Fuller. The bounce may have caught Norwich a little bit. It was Wright who was on his heels. Now then, Safri's found Huckabee, and Huckabee can find McVeigh, and it was once again Niemi to the rescue. Safri, Robinson, Huckabee, McVeigh, nice back heel. Huckabee can't collect. Robinson, Huckabee's in an offside position. Ashton shot, brilliantly saved. Huckabee, great save, Niemi again. It's a masterclass, this is. Offside flag's gone up anyway, because Huckabee had come up from an offside position. Ashton, though, cannot believe it. Higginbottom. Belmadi. Pretty patterns there by Norwich. And then a mistake there by Oakley, allowing Huckabee to run through. Ashton making the angle run. Huckabee's shot is blocked. They'll take the corner. 20 minutes gone in this second half, and it's Norwich in the ascendancy at the moment. Darren Higginbottom hard working. Huckabee wants a goal on his 100th appearance, I dare say. Towards the near post, it may bounce for Oz Ashton, it's blocked again! He's forced it in though! And a Dino double turns into a Dino treble, a hat-trick for Dean Ashton. Niemi had blocked everything in his path, but he had no help there. He couldn't do anything to stop that one, and Dean Ashton is celebrating a hat-trick. The corner coming in. He was fortunate with the ricochet, but his persistence meant that he was able to force the ball over the line. There it is, blocked by Powell, but then he forced it in. It's raining goals at Carrow Road for Dean Ashton, a hat-trick, and he has the ball.
It's always really nice to get a hat-trick, and you know, I will definitely savour the moment. Their first attack really, and they score a goal, and you're just thinking, you know, it's going to be the same as it has been in recent weeks. But obviously, you know, we came back really well. I thought, you know, the performance was magnificent today by all the players, and just really nice to get the win.
Next stop, Bramall Lane, Boxing Day, and a tough test of City's evident revival. Sheffield United going very well, the informed team in fact in the Championship, and on course for promotion. As per routine, the Canaries conceded a first half goal, Phil Jagielka taking advantage of suspect defending to make it 1-0. Few would have given Nigel Worthington's men a chance of getting anything out of the game at that point. Boy, were they wrong, as City staged another tremendous fight back. Paul McVeigh continuing where he'd left off at Crewe with a cool finish to equalise. McVeigh earning a yellow card for his celebrations, but little matter, especially as it was about to get even better early in the second half. Adam Drury's long ball catching the Blades defence square. Dean Ashton running clear, and that's the way to do it. City 2-1 up at Bramall Lane. What happened next was, well, something of a contender for what happened next. A truly bizarre goal after a comedy of errors involving United keeper Paddy Kenny and his teammates Chris Morgan and David Unsworth. Ashton's shot off target. Morgan and Unsworth then lost the plot totally, the latter heading into his own net, and presto, 3-1 Norwich, a great Christmas present for City's 1,500 travelling supporters. So 3 straight wins. Could Norwich make it 4 on the spin? A good chance back at Carrow Road. Burnley the visitors, City unchanged.
This time this free kick does go Norwich's way. It was Wayne Thomas this time. Free kick taken quickly. Here's a chance for Charlton! Well, that caught everyone by surprise. Not only the move, but the goal scorer, Simon Charlton, scores. A quarter of an hour gone, and Norwich City have the lead. Quick free kick taken by Drury, and it was Charlton who drove it in at an angle. In fact, it was Safary's ball, and beautifully converted. But Simon Charlton has opened the scoring. Could we be seeing 4 in a row for Nigel Worthington? Hyde forced backwards. McGreal. Harley. O'Connor. Oh, it was all going so nicely as well. Here's Ashton. Away from McGreal. Lovely ball. Darren Huckabee. Acres of space. Can he finish? Oh, there's the answer. What a fantastic goal from Darren Huckabee. And there's the new celebration as well in the corner. But that was a lovely sweeping move. It was a mistake by Harley which led to it, but that is a quality finish. Ashton finding Huckabee, acres of space, and that is trademark Huckabee. Goal number 5 for the season, and he gets a round of applause for his manager. Huckabee, that's a great ball, and McVeigh is onside! Off the line! And poor McVeigh is slow to rise. He thought he'd got a third for Norwich. Good ball towards Harley. John Harley. Oh, it's deflected and in! And Burnley have a lifeline. John Harley's shot deflected and looping over Robert Green, who had absolutely no chance with that. Here's Micah Hyde. And nicely tidied up there by Safri. Now then, McVeigh and Huckabee. Released by McVeigh. Duffers tracked back, but it's Huckabee. That's a lovely ball. McKenzie! Oh, fantastic save! It was a great move by Norwich City. Huckabee picking the pass for McKenzie at full stretch. And the save by Jensen. Here's McGreal. Branch. McKenzie wins it back. Now then, McVeigh. Oh, lovely play by Paul McVeigh. And here's Leon McKenzie, if he can turn. Oh, shot is deflected and off the line.
4 straight wins now, and the rejuvenated Canaries headed for Leicester next and the Walkers Stadium for their final match of 2005. A third game in 6 days for both sides, so little surprise it wasn't a classic, but all that mattered from City's point of view was that man McVeigh once again continued his rich goal-scoring form away from home. In no small thanks to Dixon Ituhu, nicking the ball outside the box, neat pass to McVeigh, and once again finishing in some style. And that was enough. 1-0, City's 5th straight win, and taking them at long last to within touching distance of the top 6 in the Championship table. A satisfactory end to a frustrating year, all things told, and for good measure, Nigel Worthington named Manager of the Month for December. So the new year kicked off with high hopes of a concerted push for promotion, or at least the playoffs. But a word of warning as City started 2006 at Carrow Road. Like the Canaries, Preston North End were very much in form, unbeaten in 15 games. Unlike the Canaries, Preston had played only 3 matches rather than 4 in just 8 days.
Nash goes long towards the head of Danny Dickey up. Made by Craig Fleming. Alexander. Now Sedgwick. Time and space now for Alexander. His ball slid through. And a chance here and a goal for Preston from Adam Nolan. Deep in first half added time. Preston, who haven't lost in 15 games, have broken through at Carrow Road. Norwich's 5-game winning streak is under real threat now. Alexander through to Nolan, who beat Green in his near post. And Preston North End have the lead. Brennan's ball in towards McVeigh. Dickio, good header clear. Colin. Doherty. And Fleming with a spectacular try. And a super save to get the ball away. Well, great Fleming from 25 yards. Pinch yourself, it really happened. Turn and spectacular strike, and Carlo Nash with a very good save. Not too often from Craig Fleming, do you? It's better from Norwich. Still they trail. Here's Matthew Hill. Matthew Hill's done well, gets a low ball in, which is half cleared. Fleming completes the job now. There's Davidson down for Alexander. His kind of range maybe. Aguimang is there. Dickio is there. Aguimang being held. Was he penalty? Aguimang linked up here with Dickio. And handball, in fact, against Fleming. The ball rode up and caught Fleming on the arm. He says ball to hand. The referee felt hand to ball. Alexander against Robert Green. Alexander scores, and Preston North End have a 2-goal cushion now. It's their skipper who made the first goal. He converts the second from the penalty spot, and Norwich now have a mountain to climb. Brennan, long ball towards McVeigh, who's never going to win a header, is he? Up against someone like Tyrone Mears. Fleming. Charlton. But this is David Nugent. It's Nugent for Preston, 3. Preston's big name, big reputation, young striker makes it 3-0 and 3 points surely for Preston North End. Long ball forward from Yul Mwene. Fleming's header wasn't the best. Charlton was caught in possession, and Nugent straight away from Fleming and picked his spot with unerring ease and precision. And David Nugent, the young star who's one to keep a firm eye on, makes it 3 for Preston.
So to the FA Cup, where for the second time in successive seasons, Norwich had drawn West Ham United in round 3. Only this time, it was at Carrow Road. And 12 months on, the clubs had swapped divisions, of course. The big talking point pre-match, the absence of Dean Ashton, linked with a possible move to Upton Park, and missing here because of a groin injury. Other injuries meant a first full start for young Rossi Jarvis. Academy colleagues Michael Spillane and Andrew Cave-Brown were on the bench. And talking of young Canaries, it was a former City youth player who helped set the Hammers on their way. Bobby Zamora teeing up Hayden Mullins, who let fly from the edge of the box. Mullins' shot going in off the post, Robert Green helpless. And the Hammers took full control of the tie a little over 10 minutes into the second half. The lively Matthew Etherington catching Green out with his near-post cross. Zamora making no mistake. A simple header, and Green left wondering just what had happened. Then a lifeline for Norwich. Jarvis with the deep cross, up goes an arm, and referee Mike Riley points straight to the spot. Paul McVeigh stepped up and smashed home the penalty in emphatic style, if only that had been the case a couple of times earlier in the season at Carrow Road. In the event, it wasn't to be City's day, and not Robert Green's day in particular. The soft second goal was bad enough. Then a collision with Marlon Harewood a minute from time saw a lengthy delay as the medics prepared for Green to be stretchered off. As he made his exit, so too, from the Cup, did Norwich. 2-1 to West Ham, who with Dean Ashton, of course, would go a long, long way in the competition. Back to the league, Norwich looking to continue their impressive form away from home with the long journey to Plymouth, and making life difficult for themselves again with the almost mandatory first half goal. The luckless Simon Charlton slicing the corner into his own net. Norwich were back on terms within 3 minutes of the restart. Darren Huckabee at his very best for this one, jinking towards the byline, beating his defender not once but twice, and capping it off with a delightful chip. A useful point in the bag, although this would turn out to be the last time City fans saw Dean Ashton in a Norwich City shirt. The Upton Park bound striker substituted towards the end. Sure enough, Dean Ashton was missing come the visit of Watford, along with the injured Adam Drury. There was a warm reception for returning Canary hero Malky Mackay, now a fixture at the heart of the Watford defence. Mackay then had a big hand in City's opening goal just a minute before half-time. The Scots clashing with former teammate Paul McVeigh on the edge of the box. McVeigh picked himself up and, as per his successful kick against West Ham, smashed the ball home, much to his obvious delight. 1-0 Norwich. The Canaries' lead didn't last long though, just 84 seconds into the second half to be precise. King with a thumping shot, Green can only parry, and it falls nicely for Henderson, who really couldn't miss, although he did need the help of the post. 1-1. A seesaw game then turned again as Norwich restored their advantage. This time it's Darren Huckabee wriggling clear from his man before lifting the ball into the 6-yard box, and it's Peter Thorne nodding his first goal in Canary colours. 2-1 City. Back came Watford, showing signs of why they were up amongst the Championship pace-setters. King involved once more after Colin was penalised for handball on the edge of the area. Green with another good stop from the free kick, but as per the Hornets' first goal, it falls nicely for Henderson, and he really couldn't miss again. 2-2. And both sides now pushing forward in search of a winner. But with 90 minutes on the clock, it seemed the points would be shared, only for Watford to snatch a dramatic late goal. That man King involved once again, finding Matthew Spring. 3-2, a real sting in the tail from the Hornets, or perhaps that should be spring in the tail, to settle an entertaining but all the same hugely frustrating afternoon. Unless you're Adi Boothroyd, City's former academy manager, on his way to great things with Watford. Well, come transfer deadline day, Nigel Worthington had added 3 more new faces to his squad, in the shape of £3 million striker Robert Earnshaw, a replacement for Ashton, and on the bench for the trip to Reading, loan signings Jonathan Johansson and Zesh Raymond. First signs of their new teammates not exactly encouraging as City slumped to a 4-0 defeat at the runaway league leaders. After left-back Mickey Shorey had scored the first on 6 minutes, one became 2. Glenn Little causing havoc on the right, and a cross for Steve Sidwell to head home. Much the same story after the break. Leroy Lita on the end of the cross. 3-0 now. And a sorry night for Norwich was completed when American international Bobby Convey ran through to blast home the fourth. Norwich's playoff hopes in tatters. All the good work of December had been undone by a thoroughly disappointing January. But at least February offered a good chance to put a smile back on the face of City fans as Ipswich came to Carrow Road with new signings Raymond, Johansson and Earnshaw all in the starting lineup.
Ball was won back well. Jonathan Johansson invited to run. Chance Johansson! Fingertip save by Lewis Price.
Earnshaw does well here. Stays onside, takes the defenders away. It's a cute angle. Good height for the keeper. Not a lot of options. May have took it across the keeper. Still a decent save from Price.
Curry's ball in. Oh, it's a good ball in too. Wan was looking for a backhander. Richards! Oh, he's hit the post! Cracking effort. And what a let-off that is for Norwich. How about this?
Well, look at this for technique. Takes it early. Robert Green never even moved.
Doherty gets it away. A lot of Norwich's preparation for this game has been based around the fact that they've tried to get much more solid and the switch to 4-4-2. And this time Johansson's beaten the offside trap and he's going to score on his debut. It's Jonathan Johansson with a debut goal for Norwich City. It was a great ball from Safri and the Ipswich offside trap flopped.
Well, I've been trying to warn them. They get it right, it's good. There's one defender, drops a little bit deeper, and that's what happened. Plays him onside, and that's a top-class finish. The keeper stopped, and then maybe he should have come all the way. But his awareness there, Johansson knew what he had to do, lift it over the keeper, could have panicked, didn't.
Now then, Ipswich with a chance to get back level. Curry and Jimmy Wan hovering over this. It's Wan, and it's in! Equaliser for Ipswich Town. It bounced up beyond Robert Green, and Ipswich Town are level.
I think this takes a deflection off the wall. I think Green's getting that, but there seemed to me to be a deflection. Here we see, definitely takes a deflection. Robert Green's got no chance.
Can Norwich steal ahead here just before half-time? Doherty is in there, it's still not away. Johansson back in, and from under the bar, Raymond failed to convert it, and he's wondering how he didn't score on his debut like Johansson.
Lovely downward header here. Hooked back in, couldn't really get any power there, and he's got to score there. You have to hit the target at least.
It's Curry into the danger zone again. Oh, McVeigh, what an important header from underneath his bar almost. Barron, Richards, great little run. What can he do here? Stands it up to the back post. Lee with a header. Haynes in. Goal for Ipswich. And that looks like the winner. Danny Haynes, the 18-year-old, may well have given Ipswich Town the points.
It's patient. Richards does well. Good movement here. Nobody picks him up, and they just allow him to cross it. Lovely downward header. Brave there. Is it a touch from the defender here? Good downward header. Haynes gets in, and there's a foot there. I think that could be an own goal.
But does it come off Doherty last? That's what I'm wondering. Oh, it's hit his arm. It's hit his arm.
Well, that Derby Day defeat put more pressure on the City management, and there was a tricky trip to Hull to follow. Again, first-half frustration set in as the Tigers took the lead. Leon caught in the right place at the right time to thump home from the corner. Into the second half, and the welcome introduction of Leon Mackenzie, along with fellow sub Paul McVeigh. Some 2,000 Canary fans had made the trip to the Kingston Communications Stadium. In vain, it seemed, until 3 minutes from time, when McVeigh's cross somehow found its way into the net via Hull defender Stuart Elliott. 1-1, a goal and a point to relieve the pressure, albeit slightly. Back to Carrow Road next for the first of two successive home games. City still looking for their first win of 2006 as they took on a Brighton side struggling against relegation.
Up goes Alap, just gone backwards. Here's Darren Huckabee, one person in the penalty area. He's on Earnshaw. Huckabee! celebrate. It was a long punt forward from Robert Green. It just bypassed everyone else. Header went backwards instead of forward, and Darren Huckabee, quick as a flash, got it, and his finish was assured. Similar to the goal he scored against Burnley before the new year. Richards can't get there before Huckabee, who's forced backwards. He does well to clear. Earnshaw does well. Mackenzie was beaten. Robinson, can he find Earnshaw? Earnshaw against McShane. Earnshaw's shot! Oh, sorry, it's not Earnshaw, it's Mackenzie. It comes off the post. Leon Mackenzie it was who burst through. Earnshaw set him up. And Mackenzie using his pace, and McShane was beaten, and the shot coming off the post. Everyone in yellow and green back defending this one. Lots of activity in that penalty area as well. Reed's free kick, easy for Green. And now Huckabee away from Reed. Darren Huckabee, man next to him is Earnshaw, and that is that. Robert Earnshaw celebrates his first goal for Norwich City and celebrates in style. It's a long throw from Robert Green. Darren Huckabee with pace away from Reed, and he was able to set it up for Robert Earnshaw. He couldn't miss, could he? Are we going to get used to this celebration as the season continues? Robert Earnshaw is off and running. 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played, and Earnshaw is onside. He can wrap it up here. Has he taken it too far? No, he hasn't. It's over the line. Goal given. 3-0, and Robert Earnshaw has a double. And how well he might celebrate. Good ball by Hughes. It was caught, and then McVeigh running it through to Earnshaw, beating the offside trap, clipped over the keeper. It came off the post, but it was clearly over the line before McShane could clear. And it's the same old routine for the Welshman.
Three very welcome points, and Norwich looking to build on that victory with another game at Carrow Road just 4 days later against Derby County.
Adam Drury. Again, one of those funny old challenges. This time it was Edworthy against Huckabee. Friendship's out the window by the looks of things. Huckabee's free kick, it's aimed towards Johansson, who gets in there, Ford's header, and Earnshaw tried to scoop it over the line. Instead, he cleared it off the line effectively. Well, it was the two former Cardiff strikers who paired up there, but Earnshaw may well have denied Peter Thorne a goal. Idiakos takes it to the near post, dealt with by Safri. And now a chance to break here, Hughes. Huckabee, acres of space in front of him. Drury for company if he needs to find an overlapper. Giles Barnes has come racing back to try and stop Huckabee and didn't get a challenge in. Oh, almost a mistake by the Derby defence. Here's Earnshaw. Wriggling away from one. Still faced by Hughes. Oh, chance for Thorne! And turned in! And the goal is given. It's Jonathan Johansson who's got it. His second goal at Carrow Road, and Norwich City are off and running. A goal for the River End supporters to enjoy. It was played in by Huckabee. The mistake in the penalty area was the clearance which came off Darren Moore, which gave Earnshaw the chance to tee it up. Peter Thorne got his header first of all, and then it was steered in by Jonathan Johansson. Moore not able to stop Earnshaw, and it was Thorne's header which was turned away by Jonathan Johansson, and the Finn's second goal for Norwich City. Nigel Worthington will be pleased as punch. Fleming forced backwards, 4 players in advanced position in black and white. Johansson. Closed down by 2. One of them was Kenner, who finds Holmes. That's into the path of Boulder. First touch gets away from Raymond. Adam Boulder lifts it over the bar. But that is a clear warning to Norwich that this game isn't over. And they can't believe it. Certainly Terry Wesley can't. It was Holmes who threaded it through. Raymond mistimed the ball, and it was Boulder who chipped it over the keeper, but not on target. Earnshaw finding Huckabee, who's in full throttle here. Huckabee away from Haito. Mackenzie close by. Oh, he's turned Darren Moore as if he wasn't there. And Mackenzie was waiting for the volley. It was Earnshaw who put it over. Scintillating stuff from Norwich. Huckabee jet-heeled away from Haito. Then he gave Darren Moore the runaround, and it really was the runaround. Didn't know where he was. Good cross, and Mackenzie was looking for the shot. Earnshaw to put it over. McVeigh, Huckabee left-footed. Brilliant finish. Absolutely brilliant finish from Darren Huckabee. His second goal this week. The ball, the dugout absolutely delighted. But that was a fine goal from Darren Huckabee. And you can see what it means for Delia and Michael. But that was a fine goal from Darren Huckabee. It was one back from the midfield. He exchanged passes with Paul McVeigh. But look at this, left-footed, first time, Lee Camp, well beaten. Fantastic finish from Darren Huckabee, 8 for the season, and that's probably one of his best.
So, 2 straight victories, rekindling faint hopes of a late push for the playoffs. But much would depend on a good result against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Scene, of course, of that dramatic 3-3 draw towards the end of last season. Yet again, though, this was an away day to forget from the moment Andy Johnson finished in typically clinical style. 1-0 Palace on just 6 minutes. Much to the frustration of the Canaries' travelling fans, worse was to follow as Ben Watson made it 2-0 with another neat finish before half-time. Nigel Worthington rang the changes at the break, to little avail though. Palace extending their lead, courtesy of Clinton Morrison. Less said about City's defending, the better, 3-0. A little over an hour on the clock, and it was shades of Reading all over again. Fitzhall with the header, 4-0 Palace. City did at least manage a late consolation, or at least Palace defender Darren Ward did, diverting Huckabee's cross into his own net. 4-1, certainly not the happiest of day trips to the capital. Make no mistake, City's season was failing by a long, long way to live up to expectations. Difficult to pinpoint the reasons, but there's no doubt injuries to key players like Leon Mackenzie hadn't helped. After a handful of appearances as sub, the live-wire striker started a game at last for the first time in nearly 6 months against Stoke.
Now Junior, Skoko, rolls in Bangura. Charlton's not really done his job there to clear it. Breaks to Chadwick, swirling cross which Green will come and take. Norwich there couldn't clear their lines, but they do now through Green. Defender is Dewberry, heads away well. It'll drop to McVeigh in a good position here for Norwich. Finds Mackenzie. Mackenzie's done well. Mackenzie's there and scores! Lovely goal for Norwich and for Leon Mackenzie. The manager impassive, his side have the lead. McVeigh with a lovely ball in, the turn was special, and the finish was even better. Away first from Brooms, then he beat Clint Hill, beat 2 defenders before finding the back of Simonson's net. Mackenzie's goal, Norwich with the lead. Chadwick just checks inside and finds Junior. Junior looks for Bangura up against Doherty, and Bangura was being held, was he? He was, right on the edge of the penalty area. Robert Green has a 5-man wall in front of him, which he just aligns now. I think Gallagher might be favoured for this. Skoko is there as well. It's Gallagher in! Norwich caught napping, and Paul Gallagher has equalised. Well, Robert Green maybe was caught out of position, aligning his defensive wall, and Stoke have shown no mercy. Not even the man on the line could stop the equaliser from Paul Gallagher. It doesn't rain, but it pours. Norwich City, having taken the lead within a few moments, are pegged back to 1-1. Time and space now for Junior, player on loan from Anderlecht, but he's given the ball away to Mackenzie. Now Huckabee. Now the pace, now the run. Huckabee comes inside still. Huckabee! Oh, super save! Might run to Earnshaw. Angle was too tight for him. Well, that would have been a goal and then some from Darren Huckabee. It was a piece of vintage Huckabee skill to run and then get the shot away, which was maybe lacking in power, if anything. And Simonson saved well. I count 5 Stoke bodies in the penalty area. It's Skoko's corner. It's a free header and it's a super save by Robert Green. Bangura denied. Still the ball isn't clear, but Robert Green there with a super save to foil Sambagu Bangura. Well, he made a super late save the last time Stoke were here 2 years ago, Green, and this was every inch the save of an international goalkeeper. Green to the rescue maybe for Norwich. Bangura must have thought he'd scored. Robinson and McVeigh, and it's Jonathan Johansson for Norwich City! Johansson scores and surely wins the game! Super sub, super goal, Jonathan Johansson, and Norwich are back in front. Oh, look what it means to the manager. Nigel Worthington's Norwich are ahead. Salvation. McVeigh, who made the first goal, makes the second with a wonderful ball to split the Stoke defence. And Jonathan Johansson with a goal which means so much for player, for club and for manager. Well, Delia has every right to smile.
City's home form offering some consolation. That was a third straight win at Carrow Road. Next, a tough trip to Elland Road, where Leeds United still harboured hopes of pipping Yorkshire rivals Sheffield United to the second automatic promotion place. Once again, Norwich went behind midway through the first half. Eddie Lewis' touch falling nicely to the feet of Rob Hulse, ignoring City's offside appeals and making it 1-0. Nigel Worthington had opted for a 4-5-1 formation here, not least to improve City's midfield stock. It proved a shrewd move as the Canaries delivered one of their best second-half displays of the season. Andy Hughes making it 1-1. And Norwich built on that. Darren Huckabee was in fine form on that left flank again, pulling the ball back for Paul McVeigh, timing his run and finished to perfection. 2-1 Norwich now. Well, all 3 points would have been no more than City deserved, but it wasn't to be. Leeds grabbing a late equaliser courtesy of a free kick outside the box. A little harsh on the Canaries, but no doubting the quality of Lewis's shot. 2-2, final score.
I've got to give my boys credit. We went to Palace 2 weeks ago where we didn't turn up at all. We come here today, being an ex-player at Elland Road, it's a hard place to even come to. And we stood up to the challenge and come out with a very good result and possibly 2 minutes away from an excellent result.
Suddenly things were looking up. Perhaps it was too early to write off a late push for promotion, especially if Norwich could complete a surprise double over Neil Warnock's Sheffield United. Hardly a dull moment with Mr. Warnock around, of course, and so it proved again here. Not that there was any hint of the histrionics to follow when the Blades took the lead. Tongue finds Webber on the edge of the Norwich box. Jason Shackle gets his foot in, but Chris Armstrong pounces on the loose ball to fire a crisp left-footed shot past Robert Green. Well, if United thought they'd have things all their own way from there, they were decidedly wrong. Adam Drury curling the ball in, nodded on by Shackle, and Leon Mackenzie did the rest, much to the fans' delight. 1-1. And it got better for Norwich even before the half was out. New signing Rob Earnshaw back in the starting lineup, doing what he does best, in the right place at the right time to beat Paddy Kenny with what appeared to be his hip. What you might call a typical goal from a prized poacher. 2-1 Norwich, and that indeed is how it finished. A notable double over the promotion-bound Blades. Not too much friendly sportsmanship in evidence at the final whistle though. Mr Warnock ultimately earning a touchline ban for his exchange of views with the City bench. The Canaries' faint promotion hopes were alive, provided they could continue their good form at Burnley the following Friday night in front of Sky's live cameras. Commentators here, Chris Kamara and Bill Leslie.
Drury forward for Norwich City. A chase for Leon McKenzie. And he's got the better of the defender as well. This is a good opportunity if McKenzie can find the right ball. Jonathan Johansson, back to McKenzie, and off the line by Burnley. What an early escape.
Brilliant. Brilliant from John Harley there. Michael Duff gets caught on the ball. Look at this from McKenzie. That's a brilliant ball. Just take it in your stride now and then bang it towards goal. I suppose the angle's a bit tight. Jensen does well, but look at John Harley. When that comes back off McKenzie, he thinks it's on his way into net. The concentration on the ball to keep it on target is brilliant.
Sometimes when you are down on your luck, you just need a bit of luck. And you could say that Burnley are using theirs now. Well, that's underhit. It's come to Leon McKenzie. Another massive let-off for the home side.
Well, Frank Sinclair's done this before. You know, he's coming towards the ball, but you can't head that back in that situation anyway, and he's got to take it on McKenzie.
Wade Elliott. Sinclair fizzed in for Harley. Good movement ahead of him. In comes the cross. It might come for Gray. Oh, he's teed it up beautifully. What a way to open your accounts. Burnley have ended that goal drought. They have the lead here against Norwich.
That's a superb ball down the line. And watch this cross from Branch. He's still got a lot to do in that Midlander grade. The little back heel opens everything up for him. Then he's got to get contact on the ball. And the goalkeeper's Robert Green's watching. He's hoping, but he's never ever going to reach that.
Elliott. Now O'Connor. This is Ricketts. Well worked through. And the cross is inviting, it's a second. Graham Branch doubles Burnley's advantage.
When it all opens up for him in this situation now, is he going to have a strike at goal? Not at all. He's got the vision to see Branch coming in at that far post. This is beautiful. There you go, Graham. Just pop that into the back of the net.
Frustration and disappointment after such spirited displays against Leeds and Sheffield United. On the plus side, Norwich were now looking for a fourth straight home win and another league double as they took on Leicester at Carrow Road.
Intelligent play to get the ball wide to Andy Hughes here for Norwich now, held up by Stephen Hughes. Fleming, Safri. Little nick there from Stephen Hughes. Safri again though. Forced back by Hughes, back to Doherty. Ball picked off easily by Williams, but his touch was heavy. Safri sidesteps Stephen Hughes and looks for Robert Earnshaw, onside. Earnshaw scores! Goal number 4 in Norwich colours, and the Welshman with the breakthrough for Norwich City. Well, he sprung Leicester's offside trap there. It was a lovely ball through from Youssef Safri. He was level with McCarthy, and the finish was exceptional. Earnshaw placed the ball past Henderson, and Norwich take the lead. It means a lot to him, and to him as well. And here's the goal scorer, Earnshaw. Johansson away, Safri. Robinson, lovely. Gets the play wide to Huckabee. Left is Drury. Huckabee comes inside. McKenzie, Huckabee, and there's Hughes! It could and should have been 2. Little snapshot from Hughes after good work from Huckabee. Andy Hughes will know there was a great chance here for a goal. Huckabee for McKenzie, then back for Huckabee, came off a defender and Andy Hughes stabbed it towards goal, but stabbed it wide. Mabry. And Fright here is in behind Shackle. Matty Fright now. Hume waits in the middle. Ball is loose. Green hasn't got the ball. It's off the line from Craig Fleming. Real scare for Norwich, and persistence nearly paid off there for Matty Fright, and Green did just about enough in the Norwich goal. Fright away from Shackle. He then beat Green, who got back to get a hand on the ball, and Fleming was there to clear off the line. Niels-Erik Johansson. Stephen Hughes. Ian Hume. Hume takes on Shackle. Ball has stayed in play with Shackle. Poor clearance though to Niels-Erik Johansson. It's Stephen Hughes. It's Gareth Williams. Williams goes for goal. That's a fabulous goal. Gareth Williams with Leicester's leveller. It is some goal. What, 25 yards plus from Green's goal, and the Norwich keeper barely got a sniff of this as it came whizzing through past him. They need to find another goal if they're going to win this one and make it 5 in a row. Safri takes on and beats Stephen Hughes and releases Darren Huckerby. Ahead of him, Adam Drury. Huckerby off the arm of Stearman, was it? Huckerby still goes down. That's a penalty for Norwich. Leicester are adamant that Huckerby made the most of that. The challenge on Huckerby, and Norwich have a penalty. And look at the reaction of Leicester's players. There was a place for handball there maybe, then this challenge from Stearman on Huckerby. Leon Mackenzie for Norwich for a 2-1 lead. Leon Mackenzie scores. Not the cleanest strike from Mackenzie, but it is his 5th of the season. And Norwich are back in front. Wellington's Norwich lead again. Ball seemed to go beneath the dive of Henderson, who wasn't too far from saving the Australian goalkeeper, was he?
Back on the road then, another visit to a top 6 outfit in the shape of Preston North End. Less said the better perhaps about this particular afternoon in Lancashire. Not only did City push the self-destruct button in the opening 45 minutes, they did it twice, with 2 own goals. Jason Shackle heading home, for want of a better phrase, to set the pattern for the first half. Next, Gary Doherty's turn to get his name on the score sheet, deflecting the cross past Robert Green, and so over the line and into the net. 2-0, Preston shut up shop from there, and that was it. Game and slender promotion hopes for Norwich well and truly over. A week later, at Hillsborough, Norwich gave a first start to academy prospect Michael Spillane at right back, while Paul Gallagher got a late call-up in goal after Robert Green injured his ankle in the warm-up. Norwich certainly had their chances here, not least when Darren Huckerby burst through with Ian Henderson in support, only for Henderson to stray offside at the crucial moment. This was a must-win match for struggling Wednesday though, and they got the all-important breakthrough on the stroke of half-time. Marcus Tudgay taking full advantage of a calamitous collision between Shackle and Doherty. Gallagher a little unlucky, having blocked the first shot, only for the rebound to fall to Tudgay to make it 1-0. Early in the second half, young Spillane did well on the overlap to find Henderson with a neat cross to the near post. But once again, it was one of those days when the luck just would not go Norwich City's way. 1-0 the final score. And so back to Carrow Road for the penultimate home game of the season. Queen's Park Rangers the visitors, the Canaries looking to make up for that 3-0 reverse at Loftus Road earlier in the season.
We're in first half stoppage time, just a minute of it. Here's Furlong against Doherty, and now Nygaard, and now Lomas, and Ainsworth, and a goal! Gareth Ainsworth has broken the deadlock, and from that throw conceded by Gary Doherty, in 4 short passes, Queen's Park Rangers and Gary Waddock can celebrate a goal. It was played forward by Milanese, and then it was Furlong, Nygaard, Lomas, Ainsworth. And Ainsworth drove it into the far corner. Free kick quickly taken. Huckabee, the other side of Bignut. Darren Huckabee! Oh, what a save by Jones! That is a superb save from the Welsh international. Darren Huckabee saw daylight, but Paul Jones stood up. Now then, Furlong. And Gallagher's indecision almost costing him. It was a good save. Paul Furlong striding forwards, and for a split second Gallagher was in no man's land, but Furlong's shot was turned away. It's a corner. Cook's corner. Oh, it's off the crossbar, off the fists of Gallagher. Well, it's a goal kick, but Cook's swinging that one in. And it did look as though it's come off someone. It came off the back, actually, of Furlong. The punch by Gallagher off the back of Furlong and off the crossbar. And all of a sudden, the atmosphere has changed as Cook goes away from one and away from two and finds a corner. A tremendous goal from Lee Cook. That was a fine finish from the youngster. All smiles on the Queen's Park Rangers bench. And the boos are now ringing round Carrow Road. Lee Cook got away from Doherty, stepped away from Sheckle, and the finish was absolutely precise. Drury. A two-who. McVeigh trying to find Earnshaw. Hughes, can he deliver? He can. Oh, a mistake punch from Jones, and headed in from Huckabee, and it's in! Has the momentum changed, I wonder? Darren Huckabee, with his 9th of the season. It looks unlikely, but they're back in it. Andy Hughes providing the cross, which Jones failed to clear, and Darren Huckabee bravely heading in, putting Bignut under pressure. That was a mistake from Paul Jones, who's made 2 great saves earlier. Milanese. Nygaard. Oh, nice link-up play, Milanese. Only one in the penalty area, is doing it himself, and headed away by Drury. Cook takes it, and a header from Nygaard, puts away there from Gallagher. Excellent save from the Scotsman. In fact, it was Danny Shitter who got in front of Nygaard and away for the corner. So a bit of pressure from Queen's Park Rangers. Maybe they want to try and kill the game off. Cook takes the corner again. Nygaard rose again. Shot coming from, Ainsworth, should I say. Again, the 2 big men were the targets, and it was Ainsworth who drove that one in. Always rising. Now, Johansson, away from Milanese. McVeigh, oh, couldn't finish. Earnshaw can! What a comeback! Robert Earnshaw scores his 5th of the season. Just the thumbs up from the manager. And all of a sudden there's a little bit of fire in the belly. Well, welcome relief for Dean Smith, and Robert Earnshaw just whips up the crowd. It was good play from Johansson in the first place, but they looked as though he'd missed a chance, but Robert Earnshaw was there. And the spark was from Johansson, and it was well finished from Earnshaw. 5 minutes left, and it's 2-2. Nygaard, closed down by 2, no foul given. Doherty, Johansson, They couldn't get there first. Nygaard will pick up the loose ball and will switch play and give Ainsworth a little bit of space to roam in. That's a dangerous ball in! And it's a fantastic save! Paul Furl on the full stretch, denied by Paul Gallagher. That's a great ball from Ainsworth. And that was a superb save from the Scotsman. Turning out to be a cracker towards the end of this game. Drury, Huckabee, away from Ainsworth, taking on Bignut. Good block though by the fullback. What's the phrase? A grandstand finish? Here's Huckabee with the corner. McVeigh. Towards the far post, Doherty, chance, goal! Robert Earnshaw again! What an incredible comeback from Norwich City! And Robert Earnshaw has scored twice in a matter of minutes. It was played in by McVeigh, great header from Doherty at the far post. The two-who was in there, but it came off Earnshaw.
Unbelievable, but to be fair, the hero was Gallagher in goal. He made some great saves today. So I mean, it's just good for him because he's it's only his second appearance for the club, like so. But it's it's a decent performance. Second half we passed it better, but we need to keep working on that and keep doing it.
When we got the first goal, there was a belief that we could drive on and certainly get something from the game. And from 2-0 down, getting back into it and getting maybe a point would have been reasonable. But to go on and get 3 points was excellent. And as I say, great character and a lot of strength from the team.
City's final away match in the Championship came at Ninian Park, where there was a warm welcome for the returning Robert Earnshaw, who of course enjoyed such a happy time at Cardiff before his move to West Brom. And here's why. A stunning strike to remind Cardiff City fans what they're missing, and all being well, show Norwich City supporters what they can expect in coming seasons. A splendid finish from Earnshaw, and Norwich recording their first away win of 2006 just in time. All of which brings us to the final match of the 2005-06 season, the visit of Wolves to Carrow Road. First things first though, before the game, the traditional presentation of the Canaries' Player of the Season, the Barry Butler Award going this year to Gary Doherty. And so to the highlights of the final match of the season with Donovan Blake.
Rosa trying to get there, Cameron gets there first. Now, Rosa will latch onto this one. It's Rosa, it's a goal for Wolves! The Hungarian breaks the deadlock. It's come down the left-hand side. Rosa timed his run to perfection. That's an excellent finish from the Hungarian. Rosa strides away for Wolves and tries to set it up for Ali Adier. And Kennedy finishes it off, surely. Mark Kennedy, the captain, doubles Wolves' lead. A simple goal in the end. It was Doherty who tried to find his man. In fact, it was a poor pass by Robinson, seized on by Roma. Or Rosa, should I say, and the finish, well, on his left foot. Kennedy wasn't going to miss that. Lot to ponder for the Norwich manager. This could have been 7 straight wins at home, but at the moment, it's looking like a defeat. Oh, mistake here, and Earnshaw's got a step in. Oh, my goodness me. Has the tide turned again? And I don't think they were expecting that. It came off Lescott, and then somehow it came off the back of Edwards' head as Murray came to collect. And Robert Earnshaw will not score a simpler goal. Earnshaw, oh, may wriggle through! Oh, what a save by Murray! And it came off the post. Once again, Matt Murray at full stretch does enough. And he had a bit of luck as well. It was Earnshaw who had the shot. Great save. It came off the post and luck falling his way.
And so the season ended with Norwich City finishing in 9th place in the Championship table.
Overall, do you think this has been the most testing season since you've been here?
Well, it has, because the expectations were so high, and probably too high, if I can say that. Because coming out of the league, there was players who was always going to leave the club. There's other players within the club who wanted to leave, and there's new players coming in, and they've got to settle in. So again, part and parcel of football, and we've had a wonderful 5 years at this club. This year's not gone as well as what we'd like, but I mean, it doesn't go well for everybody all the time. And the one thing I'm pleased about, those players kept working, kept believing, and kept giving their all.